everyone can get this later. Good afternoon. We have a nice small group today. So in the chat, Melissa put down the login information. So hopefully everybody can get logged in. And if you're not logged in, try to get logged in. And you can also ask questions in the Q&A throughout, but also in the logged in process. It's a small enough group to kind of let me ask the questions, and if you would put it in the Q&A, how many do not know about levels of measurement or what an IV and DV are? So I'm not going to call you out, but if everyone knows what they are, I'm going to carry on. And if you don't know what they are, I'm going to go through it and spend a few minutes. So if you would in the Q&A, please just put your responses in it. If you do not know what a level of measurement is, or you do not know what an independent or dependent variable are, just put a check or raise your hand or do something, and then and I'll review that quickly before going on. The other quick question I'm interested in is if any of you have data. So if you have data, you can share that, and let me just do that real quick. And then we could actually work on your data analysis. So just to show you where that is, when you go to, after you get logged in, once you have a project, you can go to share, and then just put my email address in, which is, I'll put that in the chat as well, which is james@intellectusstatistics.com. So if you have data and you're willing to share it, happy to work on it. Just put in my email address in that share and just click share, and that's it. Please.
I was going to say you do have some people that didn't know about the levels, so we should probably go over that.
Awesome. Terrific. I'm happy to do that. Okay. So let's just do that. So it's really important to. So my name is James Lanny. On the call is Melissa Moran and Ashley Burrow. You can field any of your questions as we go through this. And the importance of level of measurement and type of variables is because we want to know what is our outcome variable, and some tests only use some levels of measurement. So we'll talk about that. So the basics, we'll talk about independent variables, dependent variables, and levels of measurement. Create an account. You can do that as we go through this. Setting up data. So it's important to get the data set up correctly as part of the process. So for example, sometimes you have to stack data on top of each other. Sometimes it's side by side, and we could talk about that and answer questions. And then we'll get into the analyses. Typically, this business right here, data setup and cleanup, 90% of the job. The conducting of the analysis in Intellectus, 41 seconds, very quick. And then how to download that and then take some questions. So that's kind of the basic agenda for the day. And so levels of measurement. There's really 3 different types of quantitative data. Nominal data, which is Latin for name only, like males, females, Republican, Democrat, Green. So just names, okay? There's no order to them. The ordinal data is ordered data, as it sounds like. And what this means is that there's a blue and a red and a green. So they're in particular order, but there's no particular interval or say distance between them. And I'll share that in a minute, but just to know that the only difference here is that ordinal is named data in some particular order. And scale goes one step further. They have names, they have an order, and the distance in between them are all equal, like a ruler. So nominal, as I say, name only, fruit, apple, orange, banana. There's no ranking, there's no order. It's just naming things, okay? And lots of data is nominal level data. You know, disease, yes, no, things of this sort. So, correct or incorrect or whatever. So it's just labels of things, names of things. Ordinal does have a order or ranking. For example, sedentary, moderately active, very active. But the amount of activity that someone goes from between sedentary and moderately active may be different than someone that's moderately active to very active. Or I like to use the example of, you know, 8-ounce Coke, 12-ounce Coca-Cola, and then a big gulp of 64 ounces. For sure, there's an order, but the amount is different as we go through this thing. So it's order, but no standard rankings. Scales have equal intervals in between here, like a thermometer or like a degrees or ages, right? The number of days between a 1-year-old and a 2-year-old is the same amount of days between a 55-year-old and a 56-year-old. So, so there's equal intervals in there. And typically, well, you can have age, that's one thing, but you can also Likert type items are typically treated as scale variables from strongly disagree, neutral, agree, strongly agree. They typically consider those to be equal intervals in between each of those levels. And those are the 3 levels of measurement. You might well see the names of interval or ratio. I just bucket those into scale because they get treated in the same exact fashion. So nominal, ordinal, scale, simple. All right. Okay, so now let's talk about independent variables, dependent variables, and covariates. So typically, independent variables are the things that the researcher really changes. So what's my example here? So let's just say you're studying, type of fruit and on energy levels. The independent variable is a thing that's, in this case, the type of fruit. If I want to look at things by gender or look at things by disease or not disease, these are things kind of identified by the researcher. And I'll come up with cleaner examples. The dependent variable is really dependent upon the participant, for example. So if I'm looking at, how fast, are there differences on the running a mile by gender? I'm identifying, males and females as the independent variable, and the dependent variable depends upon the participants, right? So males are running this mile in this time, and females are running the mile in this time. So the dependent variable is typically dependent upon that. On the dependent variable depends upon the observation or the participant. In this particular example, I'm looking to see if there's differences in energy levels or sucrose or sugar, by type of fruit. So the independent variable is really different types of fruit, and then the dependent variable is the amount of sugar in each of those fruits. And it's just an example. Again, fruit is the independent variable, and the amount of energy level or sugar level depends upon the type of fruit. Covariates are typically variables that we really just want to control for. So what I mean by that is, in my one example of, I want to measure if there's differences in 1 mile run time by gender. Great. Outcome variable with dependent variable, time. My independent variable, gender or sex, male, female. Okay. But a covariate might be, I notice there's a lot of younger men in the male group and a lot of elderly women in the female group. And I said, wait a second, I really want to see if there's differences on the time that one runs a mile, but I want to control for the fact of the age of the participants. That is, I want to neutralize the effect of age. Okay, so covariates come in to do that. If you suspect that the covariate might be related to the outcome variable, or the covariate is related to the dependent variable, I'll give it one more pass. If age and runtime are related, which they probably are, and I want to control for the age of the participants so I can get to the heart of the question, which is overall are the differences on 1 mile run times by gender. And we'll get into this when we talk about the actual variables itself. Okay? So now is the time to kind of get logged in to Intellectus. If you're having trouble, please, again, put it in the chat or put it in the Q&A. And then if you can share that you've gotten logged in. If you don't get logged in, no problem. I'm going to share examples. And if you want to share your particular project, very happy to get that as well. So now's the time to get logged in. And while you're getting logged in, there are typical problems that in our consulting practice, people come with 3 basic kinds of common problems. They don't know which test to conduct. By the way, levels of measurement and the wording of the research question really drives what kind of test. How to conduct the test, you'll see in Intellectus is very, very simple. We've really used a lot of technology to kind of get us there. And then what the output means. How do I interpret that raw output? So, and we'll do that as well. So as you're getting logged in, if you have one or more of these questions, you are not alone. Most people have these difficulties. Okay. And we'll get to the loading up the data, or you can load up the data set that we have here. So let me just get there. So, okay. So let's get to loading in data. Hopefully everyone is logged in. Melissa, I can go forward with this.
Yep, I think so. If anyone's not logged in, just please send us a message and we'll help you out there.
So to load in data, we can go to choose an example data set. And then we have a masterclass setting here. Okay, so masterclass data set, education course. Just go ahead and select that. And then create project with this data set. And that's how simple it is to upload data. Let me just say something about these example data sets too. If you want to practice with particular types of analyses, when you go to choose an example data set, there's different suggested analyses. So if I wanted to run an ANOVA, they'll tell you, look at math scores by favorite color. And they'll give you, so you can at least run something and look at the output and so forth. So just to know that you can really look at drill into a example data set by the type of analysis that you'd like to play with. I should also say before digging into this that you can upload your data here. Upload data in a couple of ways. So one is going to upload data file, and you can select the type of data that you have, and then choose your file, choose your data, okay? Choose your Excel file and just open it. So that's one way to get the data in. The other way to get the data in is to open up your Excel file, okay? And you can just paste your variable names and data in, right into it and click save. So it's kind of 2 ways from a file format or from just pasting it in or entering it, typing it in. And we're using just an example data set. Okay, so let's go to, first of all, no one's wanted to share their project, which is absolutely fine. I'll just sally forth. I'll give anyone a moment. If you do want to share your data, that's fine. Otherwise, I will just go forward here.
And I think if there's specific analyses that you're working on and you want to see that, please put that in the chat.
Absolutely.
And Paulette, if you want to share your data, do you have it uploaded to the tool? You can just click that share button and type in the email address, and I put it right in the chat.
So let's just add one thing. So when you upload data, it's going to want to bring you to a wizard. Just say exit out of that and just get it loaded in. Because the wizard's several steps. So yeah, upload it and then click out of the wizard and then click share if you'd like. And if there's analyses, Q&A, if there's analyses that you'd like to see for sure, let me know. And Melissa, if you can give me a heads up with that. Otherwise, I'll just run through some basic stuff.
Yep, I'll share if they come in through the Q&A,
Okay.
and then Paulette, we'll wait to see the notification of your shared data too. So let us know if you have questions about that.
Okay. And for those that don't have data, I'm presuming that maybe you're going to collect data or something of that sort, which is just fine. So once I have data loaded in this case, the master class, as soon as you upload the data, it dumps you right into data management, and you can do very basic things here. For example, you may want to, change things from, nominal to ordinal. So you can change levels of measurement by dropping down into here. The other thing that you can do is typically a variable calculator. So I might want to, for example, look at the, average well, let's just look at this thing for a second. So what data do I have? I have age group, I have movie, I have fruit, well, age group. I have 3 different age groups. I have movies, 3 different types of movies. I have fruit, 2 types of fruit. And then I have hours of sleep, and then GPA pre and post. Okay. So I might want to do things like what's the average GPA for someone? I can go to variable calculator. I could type in a name, average GPA. Okay. I can select mean. Okay. Select my variables and hit calculate. So I'm calculating average GPA by summing and dividing by 2 and hit submit. So that's a very useful tool that's needed often. And then I can certainly download my managed data. So if you go and create new scores, you don't have to keep it in Intellectus. You can download that data. And you can see, you'll have your data on your desktop with any new variables that you've computed. Okay.
And
Please.
Paulette has her data uploaded. Can you just quickly show where to share it again?
Yes.
And then I think we will unmute you too, so you can kind of share information about your project.
So you just go to the share button here. Okay. And then type in my email address, which is james@Intellectus.
Okay, I'm sorry, I missed where you said the share button is.
Hello.
Yes,
Right here.
hello. Oh, okay. So, okay, I need to go to my projects.
Yep. So under projects and then go to share.
Oh, okay.
And then just click that, then type in my email address and click share. And then you're
Okay.
go.
Thank you.
Sure. Well, hang in here.
Oh, okay. Let me
Hang
type
in.
it.
Don't run off so quick.
All right. Let me type in the email address.
And if other participants want to talk about analyses they would like to see, please do put that in there. Again, I'll do a general run through of several of these, but anyway, I'm happy to demonstrate a particular analysis that you may want to see. Okay, so once you've done it, so then when you share, I can get a notification and accept. And then I'm just going to duplicate this just so I don't mess you up over here. So, so I'm going to load up this project. Okay, so what do we see here? So we have, you know, we have a lot of rows here, and we have a lot of data here. Okay, so, and you probably have, so what, and I'll mess around with this a little bit, a little data cleaning. Let's just do a few things here. So let's just, so we have basic demographics, and then you have some kind of an instrument going on here, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what's the name of the instrument?
It's the instructional perspectives inventory.
Okay, and in the instructional perspectives inventory, is there one total score or are there different subscales there?
Different subscales. So there's, several questions that were asked, and then I've, given numbers
Yep,
to,
like, got it, okay.
yeah.
So let me just do this. So let me just download this for a second. And I'll walk through that upload process a little bit.
Okay.
That data management helps quite a bit. So I'm just gonna, oops. So I'm gonna move this over. Hey, wait a second. Can I get that? Let's just do it this way. I don't know if it's my mouse or what. Okay, so. Okay, great. So let me just see what this looks like. So here's our data. That's fine. So here is our data. And so we're just going to do, we'll just create one. Well, what are the names of your subscales? And which item numbers are they? If you know that. Because you have a lot of them. So you have a lot of items. So I'm not sure we're going to have time to do all of them, but let's just give me two subscales.
Let me see. So question 19.
Yep.
And then let's do.
Well, question 19 looks like a yes, no.
Okay, yes, I don't
1 to
want
2.
that one.
Probably want a liked one. So how frequently? Well, I'll just exemplify a subscale. And what are the names of your subscales? Start there.
Okay, I'm sorry, I wasn't prepared.
Nope, that's fine. Do
Okay,
you recall any names of the subscales or?
yeah, I can tell you in just a moment. I'll bring it up. Let's see.
Well, you don't want me to start making jokes here. So some good jokes to fill the time. All right.
Okay, so question 21.
Well, let me do this. Let me make it easier.
Okay.
If you can tell me what your research questions are here, and that's going to help drive things.
Yes, I wanted to find out what were the instructional perspectives of Christian educators in the Black church. And so the last few questions, if you scroll, let's see, I thought I had the document.
So you just want to describe those subscales?
Yeah, so if you look at the last few questions, so if you like questions, if we do like questions 22 and 23, that would be fine.
Okay, so what are the questions? So are you saying that is it a descriptive study?
Yes, I believe that is correct.
Okay, that's fine. So, so as I said earlier, things are really based on the question. So if it's just descriptive, we're gonna create a composite score like I did with average GPA. But I'm going to just use this as a different kind of a thing, okay? So, so the name of the scale was what? Instructional?
It's called the Instructional Perspectives Inventory.
Okay. Okay,
And
so
so like the last,
that's fine.
darn it. Where is the actual?
Scales. Okay, so we're gonna make up some subscales, okay? So one subscale is gonna be learner-centeredness.
Okay,
Learner-centered, okay? We're gonna call the pedagogical effectiveness. Okay, and then technology integration. We'll just use those, okay?
okay,
Okay, so let's just go back. So so with this data set, let's just clean this up a little bit. So just for example purposes. So I'm going to edit data, and then here I'm just going to call this gender. Okay, and I'm going to call this age. Okay, I call this ethnic. Okay, and then I'm going to skip all this business
okay. Mhm.
for the moment. Okay. So I want to remove a lot of these. Okay, and then let's just
Yeah, you can skip that one.
I'm trying to scroll over. Okay, so and then here I'm just going to call this let's just call this learner centered. So let's just imagine we've
Mhm.
created subscales. So we're going to
Okay,
call this learner centered. LEAR learner. Okay, and then oh, I wanted to put it up top. All right, and then let's get rid of this. This might help. So, and then let's just call this pedagogy effectiveness, and let's just call this one technology. Okay. And then that's it. So then here we're just going to get rid of these other guys. Can't scroll all the way over though. It's kind of okay. Okay. Let me just do this real quick. There we go. Okay, so let's just get rid of all this. Okay. Let's just delete those. And so we just have a few variables of interest here, and then let's get rid of some of this. Huge data set. By the way,
yes, I was very fortunate to have a pretty good response.
pretty good.
Yes,
1,000. You'll be unlikely to find any other student or faculty with that sample size. So just heads up though, you're not going to want any alphanumeric in there. It's going to come up nominal.
oh,
So
okay.
so just heads up there, okay? So you'll
Yes,
want to
thank
make
you.
sure that data is clean of any of any in a truly scale variable. You're not going to want a letter. Okay.
Okay,
All right. So okay. So just nice, clean, small data set. save this on the desktop. All that, okay. So let's just do this, make it even easier. Let me just, let's get this clean. Okay. So let's just grab some data. I'm just going to Control C and just paste it in. Enter data manually. I'm just going to paste it in. And then we're going to work with it. So I'm going to exit out of that for the moment. They're all scale. So let's just do a few things. So let's just go ahead and change gender, which we know is really nominal. And I'm just going to just make believe this is male. Okay, this is female. Okay, and then just put that right in the same variable. And we can do the same with these other age groups. It's probably age group, which is probably ordinal. And let's just say, you know, it's 20 to 29. Okay. 30 to 39. 40, 49. And then let's just collapse all these. Oops. Actually, I should have collapsed all these guys. Let's just merge these. So 20 to 29. So if I want to merge things together, all I do is click, let's just call this 30 to 39. Okay, and to merge, I just click these buttons over here, and I'm going to collapse these guys and just call it, you know, 40 and above. So merge 40 plus. So we're doing a lot of data management, but that's the nature of data analysis, is that there's data management to be had. And you can see that I changed those numbers into the actual age levels and ethnicity. Oops. I might just nominal, white, other, oops. Okay. Again, keeping the same variable. So I kind of cleaned up some of my demographics, and then I have my outcome variables or my dependent variables. And let's just do a few different things here. So the first thing that everyone should do every single time is to conduct descriptive statistics. So you go under analyses and descriptives, and then go to variables, add, modify. You can check all the variables to put in and calculate. And what you'll find here is that you'll have an APA table. You can see my misspelling for female. And then you'll have a little description up here of what's inside of that table. So most frequently observed category of gender was male, and so forth. For these scale variables, we have means and standard deviations. You could also scroll over if you don't know what those terms mean. Okay. And now let's just make up some mock questions. Okay. One question I can ask is, hey, gosh, what's the relationship, okay, among my outcome variables? Okay. So I can endorse all of those. So this is a Pearson correlation relating scale variables to one another. So put the variables in and hit calculate. And what you'll see for all of these analyses, it will have an introduction talking about the test and the variables of interest, which here is learner-centered, pedagogy effectiveness, and technology. All the assumptions will be built in, and then the results are in plain English. A significant positive correlation was observed between learner-centered and pedagogy effectiveness. Okay, talks about the effect size. And when things are significant, as it is here, okay, it will give the interpretation of every test. This means as learner-centeredness increases, pedagogy effectiveness increases, and vice versa. Pedagogy effectiveness increases, learner-centeredness increases. So that's an example of relating say examining the relationship between two scale variables. I could also ask questions. Are there differences on, let's just say, on one of the outcome variables, learner-centeredness, by, say, gender or sex? Okay. So basically, I've identified the test. Oopsie. I put in my dependent variable and my independent variable and hit calculate. And as I say, for all these different tests, there's an introduction. The assumptions are built in. Okay. So it will identify the assumption. It will identify the name of the test to test that assumption. It then runs that test and then interprets that test. Okay, so it's all built in without asking. All we did was ask for a t-test and identified the dependent variable, okay, and the independent variable. Ditto for other assumptions. The name of the test happens to be the Levine test. It runs it and interprets it. Then the results are in plain English. There was not a significant difference on learner-centeredness by gender. Okay. And that's one way of reporting it. This just says that there's no difference between males and females on learner-centeredness. That's an APA table, helpful scrollovers, and scroll over. Heads up that things are templatized in this tool. What I mean is that phrase right there is published with Turnitin. Okay. This phrase is published with Turnitin, as is this one. Okay. So you'll want, I mean, the simple thing to do is just put it in ChatGPT, ask them to, reword, edit, and simplify is typically what to do. All right. So we did a Pearson correlation. We did a t-test. The Mann-Whitney is a t-test without an assumption. And when an assumption is violated, as it was here, that non-parametric test, or the test without the assumption, is also run and written up as well. Again, not statistically significant. And then you can do lots of other things, like we could do a chi-square test from my data and see if there's a relationship between gender and age, for example. So the rule is select the test, put in the variables, hit calculate. And here there's assumptions, which are talked about and evaluated, and then the results of the test, which were here were not significant, and saying that that gender and age are not related at all. Okay? And then there's a non-parametric test underneath that as well. Once you have all of your analyses, then we're just in the downloading document phase. And in that downloaded document, it's on the other side here. So here are the tests that were conducted. Okay. And then here are the results of the descriptives, correlation, okay, t-test, okay, not Mann-Whitney test, chi-square, and Fisher. APA style references are included in that output for all the in-text citations. A glossary of terms and symbols of the different types of terms and symbols inside of each of the tests are also described. Okay. And then there's some raw output underneath that. But basically, it gives you the interpreted results in APA format, the references, and the glossary, all with a click of a button. So let me just talk about a couple of other things. Let me just go do one other quick thing, just to share that there are plots here, 10 typical plots. Just click on the plot. you can select the variables of interest. You can select a grouping variable if you'd like. And basically, you can see that's a scatter plot of learner-centeredness and pedagogy effectiveness, 4 different age groups, and you can drill in, drill out, and so forth. And then you can see the relationship here between these 2 variables overall and for each group. And then you can export that as well. Okay, so what have we done thus far? We have uploaded data, we've shared data, we have an example data, and we've pasted data. So we've done kind of all of those. And then we've managed data really just by, creating an average score in the average GPA example, and then downloaded that data. We've created a plot, and we've conducted some analyses. Now, that's kind of once you have data and you kind of and then we've downloaded that data. So that's one set of things kind of after we have data. The other thing we need to do is, figure out, what to do. So there's a decision tree here. And you can play around with this. And, typically if you want to figure out what to do, you just kind of walk along these branches to get to the test over here. But you can also want to predict an outcome that's scale. You'll be doing a linear regression and so forth. So you can really play around with these options here to drive to the analyses to the right. So when you're writing a methodology and applying to IRB, you're going to need to know what test, the assumptions of the test, and the sample size. The decision tree helps you with that, what test. Once I know I'm conducting a regression, for example, you can click on data plans and regression, and you'll have a downloadable over here, downloadable and editable data plan for a regression. You can then go to power analysis, and you can go to regression to figure out what the sample size should be. And here you just select the number of predictors, and you have a downloadable and editable sample size write-up. So these are kind of the a priori buttons here, like before I collect data. And then this is once I have data, okay? There's also consulting sessions. We're getting rid of the group, but you can have individual. Faculty will get free consulting. Students, there'll be, $150 for an individual 45-minute session. So that's available to you. And then it's some premier, really, if you have really messy data or doing more than a t-test, you can come here for that. But this is the typical go-to, that $150 for 45 minutes, and probably get your data analyzed, explained to you, and you'll walk away with a draft. This is going to be a much, much, much more expensive option, but at $150 to get stuff done, I would have given $30,000 to get support with mine, because it took some time. So other things I'll highlight is that there's courses available if you want to kind of dig in. Faculty can, preview these for free. Students can buy them, around ANOVA or different types of tests. Okay. All right. There are also built-in reference manual, free, built-in video library, free, and there's other kinds of help like a knowledge center, which kind of buckets different topics. In there, you can search for them or just look for them. And I think with that, I'll stop and just answer questions. So I know, Paula, I didn't really answer your questions in particular, but I hope that you have some sense of creating composite scores, having just one row of headers, and that data cleaning wizard will help you a lot.
Yes, thank you.
And some sense of the questions. But yours sounds like create composite scores. clean up some of just get numbers where there's numbers, alphanumeric where there's alphanumeric, and conduct descriptives. I think you're probably, on the road. So, but other questions. So while we were working, Paul, feel free to ask. Yeah, if there's other questions.
I don't have any open. Oh, okay. So we have another participant that wants to share data, but we're working on getting logged in. If there are any other tests anyone would like to see, please put those in the chat. Or in
I'm
the,
not sure how much time we're
Q&A.
gonna have, given it's
Right.
4:02. But certainly, again, if you're faculty, who we've invited here, you'll, contact Melissa or Ashley, and I'll happy to work through your data. If you're a student, hop on to the consulting sessions, as I say. Particularly the group or the individual. But the group's going away like today or tomorrow. But you'll have the individual available, which is still a great value. Other questions? I'm just refreshing to see if I have someone's data there. Nope, not yet. Other questions? Are most people faculty or students? What's kind of the mixture here? If anyone wants to put that in there. So yeah, so under to share, you just go to projects. You'll have your data under my projects and just click share. Right there.
And then while we're waiting for other questions to come in, everyone will have access to this tool through the link that was sent to you via email, and it's in this chat. So if you want to log in and upload your data, if you didn't have a chance to do that today, you'll have access for a week through that link. And then this is being recorded, so we'll send it to all of you as well.
Yep. And just know, Paula, I'm deleting all of your information here. So just to know that.
Okay.
Yeah. Final questions, thoughts? I'll wait a few minutes for that individuals. I'll keep refreshing if they sent it, but otherwise, again, if you're faculty, just contact Melissa or Ashley. We'll get on my calendar. And if you're a student, just go to consulting. And for sure, I mean, there's two pieces of how this whole thing works. One is, we're doing our part to, we're doing our part to be innovative. So we're doing our part to do that, but the other part is really sharing it. So share it with others that just don't know about it. So.
And we had a question about how this is different from SPSS. So if you want to just highlight that quickly.
Yep. So we also have a raw output view. My mouse is acting up. We also have a raw output view. SPSS or SAS or Stata or Excel basically give you raw output. You would have a, correlation that would be the output, for example. The primary distinction with ours is that everything is interpreted. Like this is Pearson correlation. So for example, a significant positive correlation. Okay. So the main difference is, one, the tool is much easier to use. Second, it is interprets the output, and then it puts everything in APA format. So that's the major distinction between these tools. And the learning curve is much flatter. How much is the individual consultation if one is a faculty? Free. Get on my calendar. Yep, no problem. Yeah, I mean, the idea is want to empower faculty to use it, to share it with their students. And there's no better way to get faculty acclimated than to actually helping with their own project. So we don't want to be co-authors. So clean up the data as much as you can. We don't want to spend 2 hours cleaning data. We'll do a little bit or guide you. And then, but really when it comes to the analyses and which ones, we can do that, you know, in very short order. Other questions, other thoughts? I know we're running towards the end of our time. I'm gonna wrap up here, Melissa, if that's okay.
Yep, no other questions are coming through, and everyone on here, you have our contact information, so if you have questions after, please reach out.
Thank you all for joining. I hope you got something out of this. And as I say, share it. I know that we'll get everyone the recordings. You have login information. You have access to me and to Melissa and to Ashley. And just wish you a good rest of the week and a nice weekend. So thanks for joining, and we'll see you next time.